I love hydrangeas, but I live in North Texas where they can be pretty fussy. In this video, we'll talk about the best hydrangeas for North Texas, and we'll rank them in order of least suitable to most suitable. Let's get started. I wanted to make a video going over what is actually worth it and what is worth it if you're willing to put in a lot of effort. So let's start with number 5. The Mophead hydrangeas are beautiful. They're those blue ones that you see. A lot of people like to put them in containers, and they are beautiful when they're blooming. And so for that, I do give them a 10 out of 10 for beauty. They look amazing. They tend to be a relatively okay price too when they come out in May. I would give them a 5 out of 10 for price. Here's where I'm gonna rate them low. For effort, I give them a 3 out of 10. You have to baby these. They might look okay when you first purchase them, but by the time we get to mid-July, they are gonna be wilting, they're not gonna be in flower anymore, and it's gonna literally look like they're melting if you don't absolutely baby them. They've gotta be in the very best of soil. They have to have the fussiest of locations figured out, maybe like 1 hour of morning sun, but not anywhere that would be like really hot, you know? So I think hydrangeas, these are absolutely, they're beautiful, but if we're talking about North Texas, like what's the one I would recommend? This is not the one that I would recommend. I feel like this is a hydrangea a lot of beginners purchase and are sad about when it dies. I would give the design value of these a 5 out of 10. They are really pretty when they come out, but then they're just leaves and they don't do much and they take up a lot of effort. So for me, they're all right. They do make a beautiful magazine cover though. I don't know about you guys, I'm looking for more than that with what I plant. Like I want things that are gonna have a lot of interest and value. Sorry Mophead hydrangea lovers out there, but for me it's at the bottom of the list for North Texas. My official verdict for Mophead hydrangeas, gorgeous, not worth the effort in North Texas. Sorry. Coming in at number 4, we have smooth hydrangeas. This is your Incrediball. This is the ones that come up and they're beautiful and they're a true like nice floaty cloud-like ball form. These are smooth hydrangeas. And this reminds me of something that's really important for all of the hydrangeas I'm talking about. Look up when to prune them. This hydrangea blooms on new growth, so you have to prune it every year for it to keep blooming. But every variety kind of has a different set of rules, and instead of me like memorizing them, I just Google it before I prune every year. So that's my aside about that. I think smooth hydrangeas are worth having in your garden, but it's not one that I would go out and purchase again. I actually have one in my yard that I got 5 years ago and it does fine, but as you'll come to find out in this video, I've chosen to spend my money on other varieties of hydrangeas that I think are more valuable. For beauty for this one, I would say 7 out of 10. It is really, really, really pretty, but they don't have much past their bloom time to me, and they take a long time every year to kind of come out and bloom. They bloom much later than other varieties that I have, and their blooms can be hit or miss, I've noticed. Additionally, with the pruning requirement, it just makes them a little bit more fussy. But I'm gonna go with 5 out of 10. These are nice, but there's some named varieties that can be pretty expensive, and so I think if you get it, just know it's still a hydrangea. It's gonna require a lot of you. And because those named varieties are so popular, you might be spending like 60 bucks instead of 30. So just keep that in mind. For effort level for these, I'm gonna give them a 6 out of 10. Like I said, I have an Incrediball in my yard. It doesn't need much from me. In fact, it looks really good right now. But I bought 2 Incrediballs and only 1 has survived. And that could have been because I was a bad gardener, but with hydrangeas, they need a lot of water and they need a really good location. And I put these in 2 separate locations and 1 did pretty well and 1 just never came back for me. From a design perspective, I would give these a 5 out of 10. They're pretty, man, they look great on the right backdrop. But to me, there's a lot of flowers that are like white snowball type flowers, and in Texas, I found like the big Mophead size tends to not be as big. I do have large blooms on mine, but they're not as impactful as other things that I have in my garden. Number 4, a hydrangea that I do love, by the way, the smooth hydrangea. Number 3 is the mountain hydrangea. They tend to be a little bit tougher, a little bit more heat tolerant. than some of the other varieties that we talked about earlier.
I like the Mountain Hydrangea because it has a really unique leaf. It's a little bit smaller, as you can see, than the other varieties we've talked about, and the Lacecap on it is so pretty. This flower is so unique. You just don't see a lot of things like this in the garden. Like I said, they're more heat tolerant and they're just hardier, making them a great choice for North Texas.
Beauty, I give these 8 out of 10.
Their unique flower that they have is really cool, and they kind of look like the Macrophylla, that first hydrangea we talked about, but they're just easier to take care of. I really think they're beautiful and unique.
Budget, I'm gonna go with 5 out of 10.
There are a lot of named varieties of these that you can get, and a lot of unique colors. Just a really cool plant.
Effort level for these, 7 out of 10. They bloom on new or old wood, and they're just a little bit less fussy than the varieties we've talked about previously. Design value, I'm gonna go with 7 out of 10. My verdict for the Mountain Hydrangea, get it, especially if you're like a little plant nerd like me and you just like to collect cool things. They're super cool. Coming in at number 2, we have the Panicle Hydrangea. This is your Limelight, it's your little lime, it's ones that you see all the time in magazines and online. The Limelight Hydrangea is so popular. I feel like every gardener has heard of it and tried it in their yard. There are things that I love about this kind of hydrangea, and let's talk about them right now. Panicle hydrangeas are much more sun tolerant than the other ones. They're more drought tolerant. They're more versatile. They can handle heat. And so for that reason, they do come in at number 2 on the list. Also, they make a huge impact in the garden. When I had these in my yard, they were so pretty, and watching them start out lime and then turn white and then, like blush a little bit was really, 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 really cool. I would say of all the hydrangeas we've talked about so far, these are the most beginner friendly. If you love your garden and you're willing to kind of go out and take care of it, this is one I think you should pick up. Try Limelight, you'll love it. I think there's even an improved one now, like a Limelight super plus better awesome version. Beauty for the Panicle Hydrangea, I'm gonna go with 9 out of 10. The big panicles are so beautiful, and they color shift through the season, and even when they just come out in their little baby panicles, they're so like fun to watch grow in. And these shrubs are bred to be pretty tidy looking, and they are. They tend to kind of stay in their lane, and so I really like the look of these. Budget, I'm gonna go with 7 out of 10. The thing with the Panicle hydrangeas is there's tons of them being produced because it's such a popular thing to have in your yard. So it tends to be a reasonable price, but the name varieties are gonna be more expensive. You're probably looking at 60, 70 bucks to pick up one that's a good size. And if you wanna get them in a set of 3, which I would recommend, like that would be beautiful, you're looking at a pretty big investment. Effort, I'm still gonna go with an 8 out of 10 for effort. These are high maintenance. In fact, I've killed the one that I did have because I didn't water it in the summer. So just know, like, it's beautiful. People recommend this, but the best thing to do would be to like still baby it and really make sure you're willing to like invest the time to get it established in your yard. And design value, I'm gonna go with 8 out of 10. There's a lot to love here. They're tidy. They go through that color shift like we talked about. They have a nice fall color on them. They look good in the winter with snow on them. There's a lot here that's really, really strong for the Limelight. 8 out of 10 for design value. And a bonus, my favorite variety has to be Limelight. Pick that one up. Coming in at number 1 is the Oakleaf Hydrangea. Absolutely has to be here. These are amazing for North Texas. And I have 1 Incrediball in my yard. I had 1 Limelight. I bought 1 Mophead. I have like 12 Oakleaf hydrangeas. They are amazing. Oakleaf hydrangeas are not just beautiful when they're blooming. They are beautiful all the time. I think they are one of my favorite plants to recommend because all 4 seasons they're doing something super interesting. They leaf out these big leaves that are interesting to look at, and they kind of have a lot of presence in the garden. And they're this really nice limey green that again really draws your eye. Then you start to see the little panicles coming out, and they turn this beautiful, usually white color, but there's varieties that are super beautiful. There's like ruby slippers that's really pretty. A lot of them blush out, so they've done a lot with the varieties to make them super cool. Then after the flowers fade, They turn this nice brown. And if you want, you can take them inside and they last forever in the vase. I have flowers in my house like from years ago, like old dried hydrangeas. They do so well. They're awesome. Then fall comes and they start to turn like actually a really good fall color. I feel like you see a lot of things online. Look at the fall color of this, but then when it comes to our Texas heat, it doesn't perform like you want it to. These perform like you want it to. These are vibrant purples and reds and there's huge leaves. Even though I have Japanese maples in the yard with really pretty fall color, I always take the best pictures of the oak leaves. And I'll show you some right now. Like here's some pictures from my garden. By the way, all the pictures, or a lot of them, are from my garden in this video when we're talking about oak leaves, because like I have them and I think they're awesome. The other thing about their fall color that's really cool is it stays on like all the way through the winter here most of the time. So it's not a 2-week thing. It's like a 4 or 5 month beautiful feature in your garden. I just think they're great. For beauty, 10 out of 10 for all the reasons we just talked about. Budget, 8 out of 10. You'll pick this up, it won't look that impressive, and it'll grow and establish and end up being one of your favorite plants in your garden. Effort level, I'm gonna go 7 out of 10. This is the least fussy hydrangea that I've grown, but you still have to establish it. And it's gonna be really dramatic for you. So, all of that to say, they're great, but they're still a hydrangea. And design value, I'm gonna go with 10 out of 10. If I could recommend like one plant for people that they probably don't know about, it's this one. This is beautiful year round. It provides structure. Morning sun is where I would put it if you can. It needs a little block of sun, but I have a variety of them in a variety of places and they're all doing beautifully. They'll just flower more in the sun, you know? Verdict for the Oakleaf hydrangea, yes, get it, you'll love it, send me a picture, do it. If I had to choose only one hydrangea for North Texas, it would be Oakleaf every day. And by the way, there's some really good varieties that I'd recommend. Ruby Slippers is awesome, Alice is awesome, Toy Soldier is awesome, Eileen Huff is great. Go and kind of decide what size you want and then pick that. I will say with these, they bloom on old growth, so you need to buy the size that you want and just let it exist. This is not one you're gonna chop all the way down to the ground every year. So consider the size. And some of these do get pretty big. Alice is huge in my yard. So in North Texas, the prettiest plant that you see in the magazine is not always the one that's gonna last the best for us. I hope that you enjoyed going through each of the different varieties and talking about them, and I hope that you plant more hydrangeas in your yard because they're beautiful and the oak leaves are truly 4-season plants that you'll really enjoy. Let me know what I should rank next in the comments below. And if you're looking for practical garden advice in North Texas that helps you get a beautiful yard with low effort, consider subscribing to Garden Best Friend. Thanks.